There is a legend about an old sea captain named Elias, who was hired by a king to find a safe passage through the ocean of storms, a stretch of water so dangerous that no ship had ever crossed it and returned. The king gave Elias a fleet of 10 mighty ships. The kingdom watched with pride as he sailed away, expecting him to return with riches and maps of a new world. 6 months later, Elias returned, but he came back alone. He had lost 9 ships. He had found no passage. He had no gold, no spices, and no glory. He limped into the harbor with a broken mast and a shattered hull. The people called him a failure. The king was furious. He shouted, "I gave you a fortune, and you brought me nothing but wreckage. You have failed." Elias stood before the throne, tired and weathered, and he did something that silenced the court. He unrolled a massive, blank parchment on the floor. It was a map of the ocean of storms. He took a thick black marker and began to draw large X's across the paper. "Here," Elias said, pointing to the north, "are the reefs that tear the hull apart. I lost 3 ships there. Now we know never to sail north." He drew another X in the east. "Here are the whirlpools that swallow vessels whole. I lost 2 ships there. Now we know the east is death." He drew a line through the west. "Here the winds die completely, and men starve. I lost 4 ships there." King looked at the map. It was a mess of black ink, crossed out lines, and warning signs. It looked like a testament to disaster. "You are showing me a map of your failures," the king scoffed. "Why should I care about where we cannot go?" Elias looked the king in the eye and spoke the logic that most people are too afraid to admit. "Your Majesty," he said, "before I left, this map was blank. A blank map is useless. It offers OP, but it gives no direction. Now, look at what remains." Elias pointed to a single, narrow strip of white paper that wound through the middle of the black X's. It was a thin, jagged path, the only route he hadn't crossed out. "I have not failed," Elias said. "I have eliminated every way that leads to death. By finding the wrong ways, I have revealed the only right way. This narrow path is not a guess anymore. It is a certainty." The next day, the king sent Elias out with 1 single ship. He followed that narrow white path. He didn't hit a reef. He didn't hit a storm. He sailed straight through to the new world and returned with the fortune of an empire. The moral conclusion: we often look at our lives like the king looked at that map. We look at our failed relationships, our bankrupt businesses, and our rejected ideas, and we call them waste. We think that because we came back broken, we lost. But logic dictates otherwise. Success is not a creative act. It is a reductive one. You act like a sculptor chipping away at stone. The failure is just the dust falling on the floor. You aren't losing the stone. You are revealing the statue that was hiding inside it. Every time you fail, you are drawing a black X on the map of your life. You are saying, "Not here. Not this way. Not with this person." If you never fail, your map stays blank, and you can get lost in a blank map forever. But if you fail enough times, eventually, the path reveals itself. So, do not be ashamed of your wreckage. The person with the most scars is usually the only one who knows the way. Double quotes. ... But finding the path is only half the battle. There is a second, darker truth about success that logic forces us to accept. Having the map isn't enough. You need to be strong enough to walk it. And strength ... Strength creates a paradox. The story continues. The tale of the 2 towers consider the story of the great engineer, Valerius, who was commissioned to build a bridge across a canyon that was prone to violent earthquakes. Valerius hired 2 young apprentices, Julian and Marcus, and gave them a challenge. "Build me a model pillar that can withstand the greatest tremor." Julian was a perfectionist. He hated failure. He spent months calculating the perfect math. He drew flawless blueprints. He selected the most pristine marble. He built his pillar once, and it was beautiful, smooth, white and untouched. He protected it from the wind and the rain during construction so it would remain perfect. Never let it crack. Marcus was different. He built a pillar of rough stone, and then he did something strange. He hit it with a sledgehammer until it cracked. Then, he filled the cracks with molten iron and liquid cement. He built it higher, and then shook the foundation until it collapsed. He rebuilt it, but this time he reinforced the breaking point with steel beams. Day after day, Marcus followed. His pillar looked ugly. It was covered in scars, patches of iron, and layers of mismatched stone. Julian laughed at him. "Look at your mess," he said. "It is a monument to your incompetence. My pillar is perfect." Then came the day of the test. The great engineer brought out a massive machine designed to simulate an earthquake. He attached it to Julian's perfect white pillar. The machine turned on. The ground shook. For a few seconds, Julian's pillar stood tall, but it was rigid. It had never known stress. It had never been tested. Suddenly crack. Because it had no give. Because it had never been broken and rebuilt. The tension had nowhere to go. The perfect marble shattered into dust. The collapse was total. Then, the engineer attached the machine to Marcus's ugly, scarred pillar. The ground shook violently. The pillar vibrated. The iron patches groaned. The steel reinforcements bent. But they did not break. Why? Because every single piece of that pillar was built on top of a previous failure. The cracks were actually the strongest parts of the structure, because they had been reinforced with iron. The history of its destruction became the logic of its survival. The logical application/essay section. This brings us to the most dangerous logical fallacy of our generation, the curse of early success. We all want to succeed on the first try. We want the Julian outcome. But logic dictates that if you succeed without failing, you're actually in a very dangerous position. You have built a structure with no data on its breaking points. You have achieved altitude without structural integrity. This is why latte winners go broke. This is why young stars often crash and burn. They were given the trophy to success without the training, the failure. They have a heavy weight resting on a weak foundation. Failure does not just show you the way. Failure hardens your bones when you fail, and you are forced to rebuild yourself from zero. You are not just coming back to where you started. You are coming back with scar tissue. And biologically, scar tissue is tougher than regular skin. If you are going through a period where everything is falling apart, stop looking at it as a tragedy. Look at it as a stress test. Life is shaking your foundation to see where the cracks are now, while the stakes are low, so you can fill them with iron before you build the skyscraper of your dreams. The grand conclusion for the full video, so combine these two truths. Like Captain Elias, use failure to draw your map. Let the dead ends show you the only path that remains. And like Marcus the Builder, use failure to forge your armor. Let the cracks become your strongest points. If you can do that, if you can look at a disaster and see it as both a map and a muscle, then you become something unstoppable. You don't just succeed, you evolve. And that ... is a result worth failing for. Your time is coming. Keep believing. Keep fighting. Don't just watch. Go out and prove them wrong. Thank you for being part of the journey. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.